sei se é extra meeting que se mandar. Apesar de estar público o vídeo. É meu leitor preferido. All right, everybody. Huh? Yeah, you can do it from here. Just let me call the people here.
And make sure your voice carries.
Hello.
Don't worry. You're loud when you want to be, right?
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for being here today. We will start our meeting, so please keep eating. That's fine. Our 61. Never give up. Mas se você quiser também vai estar projetando aqui, ó. Se você achar melhor ler por aqui. O que você acha melhor aqui, ó? Aqui. Alright. Ok, nosso querido Gabriel will give us the pleasure of the lecture to start. The lecture, no, the text, the harmonization.
Never give up. Do not let external problems, including those involving your own body, render you incapable of working on your self-illumination. As long as you are living on a plane of practice, such as the earth, you will continue to be confronted with problems and suffering. A lesson learned is something that leads to more lessons. Behind a mystery solved lie other mysteries. The purpose of a school is not teaching, practicing, and improving. Thus, be filled with enthusiasm and goodwill in every situation. You were placed amidst the thousand strange obstacles so that by overcoming outer difficulties, you may learn to surpass your inner limitations. As long as humankind has not adapted to the new light, you will live surrounded by troubling tears, thoughtless attitudes, and bad sentiments. Always be willing to forgive and help, so that you do not miss a glorious opportunity for spiritual growth. Remember all the afflictions that have beset the Christian spirit in the world ever since Lord's coming. What has become the Sanhedrin that condemned the heavenly friend to death? What has become of the proud, domineering Romans? Where are the prosecutors of the Nansen gospel? Where are the soldiers who caused dark rivers of blood and sweat to flow around the gospel? What has become of the shrewd rulers that fought and did business in the name of the crucified renewer? Where is the darkness of the Middle Age? Where are the politicians and inquisitors of every sort who tortured in the name of the magnificent benefactor? Swept away by time over the cliffs of ash, the strengthened and solidified the pedestal of light in which the image of Christ shines ever more glorious in the governance of the centuries. Focus on the endeavor of helping for the common good, bearing your cross on the road to divine resurrection. When caught off guard by unpleasant surprises along the way, remember that before anything else, the most important thing is to pray always, toiling, serving, learning, loving, and never give up.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks,
Gabriel, very nice. All right. Now I will ask your excuse for 2 minutes of a prayer, if you can help me out. Let's raise our thoughts to the mentors of this house, to all the brothers and sisters who work in Jesus' fields, so we'll be here today. And thank all of them for the stimulation, for the comfort, and the motivation we always receive from them. Dear Lord, thank you for this opportunity of continuing plan the future of this house. We all understand that a land without seeds won't produce anything. So may the seeds today foster in our hearts and the hearts of our brothers and sisters for the future of Spiritism in Calgary and the Fraternity Spiritist Society. May we all get together as brothers and sisters. So be it. Thank you very much. Thanks for your patience. And now you can keep eating. Feel free. Okay, guys, our agenda very simple today. We will have a retrospective of 19 and the work plan for this year. It will be presented by department, so please bear with us to go through everything. And in the end, we will talk a little bit about our general meeting, annual general meeting that we'll have today. So it's always important to remind who we are. The FSS is basically formed by the members. Without the members, there is no FSS. So we all here are what constitutes the FSS. But there is also a management team to help the doctrinal activities, which is Sonia and Renata. We have the mediumship team, it's Anna and I. The communication department, that's Carol and Renata. And welcome and assistance, for now it's me, but we will talk about it today. Very glad to talk about it, by the way. And the admin, Eric President, Renato the VP, the Guilherme Secretary, and our dear Luis, our treasurer, the man of the money. All right. Any questions about this?
You're all good people.
That's a nice comment. I appreciate that.
Excellent. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So the doctrinal department has privilege, so has 10 minutes instead of the other ones. But I'm pretty sure the message was very important, and we would love you to pay attention on what Sonia and Renata will talk now for us. And then the other ones will be 5 minutes. Our goal is to finish before, until 2, but if we pass 2, we will let you guys know, okay? Just in case needed.
What happened to the clock over there?
There is no clock, but there is a clock here.
Okay.
You start? Take the rest?
Hello everyone. Let's get started. So first of all, we're going to talk about the virtues for 2020 for this year. So this month we have one virtue by month that we work with the children, and as well in our public meetings we talk about this virtue, bring from the Gospel of Spiritism, according to Spiritism and Spirit's book. So January we had faith. For February we are going to have apprentice feeling. In March, patience. April, humbleness. May, discernment. June, fraternity. July, meekness. August, authenticity. September, forgiveness. October, gratitude. November, love. And December, charity. As normally we have charity for December, and we have one virtue for the next year already, for January 21st. And the virtue that we put for January is regarding the same virtue that we start to talk about in November. So love, charity, and justice, they come together. So as a major law. So then that's the reason that we put for January next year we are going to start with with the virtue of justice. So Renata and I, we thought about for every month, some months, there's a reason why we pick this specifically virtue. For instance, June, we are celebrating the birthday for FSS. So then, or the anniversary, I guess it should be better this word, right? Anniversary. So then, because it's an anniversary of FSS, we choose fraternity. Okay. So any questions? Any comments? No? All right. So we have here some pictures of the events that we had last year. So can I go slowly? Okay. We had some workshops. We had Alberto Almeida. Now, let me talk a little bit about the workshops first. The workshop, we talk about the cherishing life. It's about the cherishing life. We talk about drug abuse, abortion, and suicide. Renata will talk more about this subject that is very important, and we did last year, and we are going to have this year again. We had Alberto Almeida talking about the healing your wound inner child. So it was very important for those that could participate. Was amazing. So here we have some pictures about the children, about the kids, some activities that we did with them. This is about the youth. This is more for the teenagers. And Renata will talk better about this too. We're going to have some news events, or we're going to have some news activities for both. And here, pictures of our Canadian, what can you hear this called? Spiritism conference that we held at the library, Calvary Library. So here we have pictures of the reflexive meetings that we have with Alidio. And here we have Cosme Massi that visited us and brought us some more information about Kardecpedia. I don't know if you have heard about it. It's a very good source of research, the books for Kardec. So that's what we held last year. And we are going to talk about what we're going to do for 2020. So for inner house, like our meetings will be the same. Like we had in 2019, the public meetings in Portuguese on Mondays, and we had the English meetings on Sundays. It's mini lectures from 11 to 12. On Mondays, we have also the reflective study after the public meeting. So we have from 8 to 9. And we study about the divine laws. Okay. On Sundays, we have the reflexive study every second and fourth Sunday from 10 to 10:15. So it's very important for those that have some friends that are Canadians or that have some interest to learn a little bit more about the Spiritism in English. It's a great chance to come and to study. We are right now at what is Spiritism, and this year, actually, we're going to finish this one, and we're going to start to study about the Spiritism. Spiritism, yeah. Yeah, all right.
And it's good for Brazilians who want to learn the language,
Yeah.
the words in English as well, because sometimes Canadians ask you, but what is Spiritism? What do you believe in? And we don't have the vocabulary in English to explain.
So it's a good opportunity. So other activities that we had last year, and we are gonna keep those activities for this year, is the book club. So for the book club, we had last year, let me go a little bit further here. This is for this year, right?
Yeah.
So the last year, we had, we read the books from Emmanuel, that was psychographed by Francisco Cândido Xavier. So we read all the collection. And this year, we're going to start with the books from André Luiz. So normally we start in January, we have Spiritism movie and popcorn. And this year we had already. And the name of the movie is Cause and Effect. And it was very interesting because it talks about the divine laws and how that it's important to, after we watch the movie, we talk about it and have popcorn. It's a very formal and fun event. So everybody's invited to come next year, because this year we had already. So on March 21st, we are gonna have the book club for Missionários da Luz, André Luiz. So for those that didn't start yet, we have plenty of time, so we can start and maybe can join us. On May.
Just one comment on the Missionários da Luz. This book was selected as one of the best Spiritist books of the whole century. It was a really, really book. Just a comment to stimulate participation.
Yeah.
And we still have a few available at the library to be borrowed.
Yeah.
You can find them free on PDF format online.
Yeah, it's easy to find the book to read. I don't know if there is any rádio novela or anything like that. I don't think so. But anyways, much better. There is? Oh, okay, good. But it's
They do have, they have those novellas.
Okay.
Novellas also from
This Missionários da Luz,
I believe so. I believe
I
they have.
have never seen it.
Yeah.
They are for most of his books. Yes.
But it's very, I am reading already, and it's amazing. Like there's so many informations that we don't realize that it's some good information that help us to reflect about ourselves and our lives. Obreiros da Luz will be the next one on May 17. No Mundo Maior, we are going to have in July 19, and September 20 we are going to have Nos Domínios da Mediunidade. So, and we are going to finish in November 15 Entre o Céu e a Terra. So, anybody that wants to have more information and to talk about it. Sometimes you don't need to read the book, but you just come and join us and know about it, and maybe you feel more motivated to read, right? All right, so let's come back here to the other slide. So then that's the plan for the book club this year. We will have, we didn't have last year the speaker development course, but it's open this year. It will be opened after April. So anybody that would be interested to join us as speakers. So there's another opportunity coming. Would be great. So we're gonna advise everybody by the time that comes, and probably will be after April. And lunch and learn. So last year we had lunch and learn every first Sunday of every month for parents and children's and family wellness relationship. So for this year, 2020, we're gonna keep the same activity. For January, normally we don't have, because it's a holidays break. So normally we are on break, so we don't have in January, but we have for the rest of the year, every first Sunday. So everybody are welcome to join us. So that's my part, right? And Renata will talk about the next one. Thank you.
You got 4 minutes.
No. Sorry, Renata.
Uh-oh. Here we go. All right, so we are going to talk a little bit now about Spiritist education for children. So it was planned for 2019, it happened, still going to happen 2020, still every Sunday of the month from 11 to 12, nothing changes. What is going to change is, starting in March, and you saw sort of a pilot here today, we're gonna open a group of Spiritist education for youth every other Sunday. So we're gonna start with every other Sunday, but that doesn't mean it's not gonna grow to every Sunday as well. So we are piloting it this way for now, but it could grow into every Sunday. And again, for the smaller kids, it is every Sunday, and even youth can come every Sunday. What we're saying here is we're going to have special activities prepared for youth every other Sunday, but we are still going to have workers here every Sunday if you want to come. Even if it's not one that is supposed to be youth, we're still going to be prepared for preteens and teens as well. So don't worry to think, oh no, I can't come this Sunday because it's not supposed to be youth. Don't worry, we are going to accommodate everybody, okay? There will be a couple more changes that I would like to highlight. The first one is, for both groups, the younger and the youth, we are now going to have permanent workers, permanent volunteers. So those are volunteers, it's going to be the same volunteers with your kids, with our kids, every time. Other than being sick and vacation, then of course we're going to have some people to come in and help, but it's not going to be the same rotation that used to be a different person every Sunday. The reason for that is because, of course, we understand that the more contact they have with one worker, the more trust they are able to develop in that person. It's good for them and it's good for the worker. Something else that we are going to implement this year, so because we know that there's no such thing as too many WhatsApp groups, we are going to create 2 WhatsApp groups, one for each age group, to communicate with the parents, to let the parents know what we did in the classroom. Sometimes we come here like today and we show everybody what was done, but not every time we have something to show. Just because we don't have a piece of paper or craft to show doesn't mean that we didn't work with it. So the idea is, here, our kids are here 1 hour per week. For the youth, 1 hour every 2 weeks. So this is just a seed that we plant. The most important part is done at home with the parents. So this communication of everything that we do, so for example, we would send today one paragraph saying, this is what we did today, this is how the parents can reinforce the virtue we're working on. Okay? So we are going to create one for each age. The idea is, every Sunday that your kids will be in the activity, you will have a 1-paragraph summary of what was done. If there's anything that we expect them to do during the week, like they have a gratitude journal to fill. They're supposed to write down one thing they're thankful for every day. So we will let parents know so that parents can work with their kids in order to get it done. So we're going to improve that communication. We are also going to have 1, maybe 2 parents meetings a year to talk about what's the plan, what we're working on, and feedback one-on-one with parents whenever we feel like it's necessary, right? Because there's no point us just working there and never communicating with the parents if we feel their child is having some kind of specific difficulty, said something that we think is a bit worrisome. We are gonna also try to improve our communication with the parents. Does that make sense to everybody? Any questions, any comments about that?
I would like to make a comment.
Please.
We have to understand that we are trying to achieve here is connect the children education, spiritist education with the question of the Spirit's book that invites the parents to reflect that their mission growing up their kids. So what are we doing is really trying to engage more with the parents so the parents can get more feedback. What we notice, how we deal with some certain situations, are they good or not, so the parents will have more substance to work at home.
Yeah, and with the permanent workers, the parents will also have the opportunity and come to talk to the worker who is in contact with your child all the time and mention something that you noticed. Ask them to keep an eye on a certain behavior that you think is worrisome. So this improves for everybody. And as you saw here today, we have felt the need to split the groups because you saw here today the difference of the kind of material that each age group can produce. So this, for example, was Father's Day last year. So the idea was the same, to make a little portrait to give to Dad. This is what the smaller kids did. With their own hands, they tore all the paper, they glued, they did the best they could with this activity. Dad, I love you to pieces, all the pieces of paper. This is what the youth did. So we brought in a little Polaroid camera, took a picture of each of them. So the big ones painted a rock and wrote, Dad, you rock. So it's just that they have at this point different capabilities. And the youth were thinking that it was too boring just to stay with the small kids. Plus they have different issues, right? Bullying for a small kid comes in a different shape that it comes for preteens and teens. So we really felt the need to address those, and that's why we're separating them into groups at this point, okay? All right, so that was it for youth and children education. Cherishing Life workshops. So last year we did 3. This year we're also gonna do 3. And these workshops, the speaker group, we prepare these workshops with so much attention, with so much love. And these are subjects that are extremely important for the society we live in. So March, oops, yeah, okay, sorry guys, I don't know chronological dates, because I was the one who put this together.
Those are the ones from last year.
Yes, these are the dates from last year. We already have the dates for this year, it's in the next slide. So March 10, celebrating Women's International Day, we did the right to live, abortion prevention, because abortion is not illegal in Canada. 14 years ago, when I was pregnant with Gabriel, when I went for my 11-week ultrasound, everything was normal and perfect. I was asked 3 times if I was sure I wanted to keep the baby. I felt pressured not to keep a baby that I did treatment to get pregnant with. So it's sort of an industry here. So it is extremely important that we talk about this. June, following June 10th, I think it's World Health Organization International Day for Drug Abuse Prevention. Again, extremely important for all of us, with or without children. We know that now cannabis is legal in Canada, and this is not an issue just for young people. We see that older people are getting addicted as well. And then September we talk about
Vaping, a big
vaping,
problem
huge.
with youth.
A lot of misinformation. My son comes home saying, "Oh mom, vaping is just water vapor." And I'm like, nobody. One dose of vaping equals one full pack of cigarettes. It's 20 times stronger. But it's very common, famous, and like cool with youth, and a lot of misinformation out there. So what do we do here at FSS during Cherishing Life? So let's start with the name, Cherishing Life. How important is it for us to be alive? As spiritists, we know the importance of taking care of the body that is not ours, it's borrowed. Yeah, Marcus. So we know the importance of taking the best care we possibly can. So what do we do different here that you couldn't see in any other place that talks about this subject? We bring all the numbers, we bring all the statistics as you can find anywhere, but that's just the start. That's usually we do between 4 and 6 talks or lectures during one of these days. It is usually a full Sunday. We shortened them a little for 2020. We made them 1 hour and a half shorter because we understand that it's a Sunday. And we understand that it is a bit tiring. It's not the lightest subject to talk about. But what I wanted is for anybody who has never been to one of these, we start with numbers, hard facts, mainly for Canada, for our society, and we build up on it, talking about what Spiritism says about this. What does it mean in terms of the spiritual plane? What's the correlation of what I'm doing in the physical plane with what's happening on the spiritual plane? While I am incarnated and after I discarnate. So we cover all of that. And this is why it's important that we do it in one day instead of several different ones, because all of the lectures, one is connected to the next. They are all linked. So if somebody came and watched one this Sunday and somebody else came just next Sunday, they would have missed everything that was linked, everything that came before. So it is a sequence, and this is why it's important to do everything in one day. We really invite you, anybody who has been to one of these before knows what I'm talking about. I invite you to come. We are gonna have the ones this year are planned for March 8th, which is gonna be exactly on Women's International Day. And it's the same theme, the right to live, abortion prevention. We're going to talk about all the laws in Canada, all the numbers, all the statistics, so you are going to understand, because some people say, oh, abortion is legal in Canada. No, it's not exactly how it goes. We are going to explain everything during this workshop here. May 24th, we're going to talk about drug abuse prevention, and September 13th about suicide prevention. We really invite everybody to come. We are having an epidemic of suicide attempts, suicidal thoughts among youth and children here in Canada. It is very, very worrisome. And we also have an epidemic of depression. The final stage, like the worst case scenario, the last consequence of depression, many times ends up being suicide. So it's not even just for youth or kids, it's for us adults as well. So we invite you, we would love to have you all here for Cherishing Life workshops, and we always let you know in advance. We're going to be sending save the dates 1 month before, so you can make plans, because it is a whole Sunday. So we're going to let you know in advance as much as we can, even though the dates are here, but we're going to remind you we save the dates down the road. And to come this year, we already have two weekends from now, 2 weekends from now, February 7 to 9. So it starts Friday night, September 7, and then all days, Saturday, February 8th, and till 1 p.m., a little after lunch on February 9th, we're going to have the reflexive meeting in the light of the Gospel of Jesus, and it's going to be based on the book Jesus, the Model and Guide for the Family. We have some outside if anybody's curious to take a look. We have a few of the books that it's going to be based on. We're going to be working on the parable of the Great Feast, I believe. Because I noticed you used some different words. Because there are two parables that are very similar. One of them is called the Great Feast, and I think the other maybe the Great Banquet. But it's that parable, we're going to see it really in depth.
Banquete de noivado.
Banquete de núpcias. Yeah, I don't remember because the Bible in English has specific words. Yeah. So this is going to be happening 2 weekends from now. Later, towards the end, we have something more about this, right? We are going to have in May in Montreal o Encontro Norte-Americano de Evangelização Infantil. So it's going to be Canada, US, and Mexico together to talk about Spiritist children's education. It's going to be in Montreal, the very last weekend of Montreal. I believe it's 29 May. Thank you. Yeah, last weekend of May. Thank you. So it's 29, 30, 31st of May in Montreal. If anybody is interested, it's going to be very focused on workers, but there's a lot that parents can take as well. If anybody's interested, I think I don't think. The lectures are all going to be in Portuguese, but there will be translation into English, Spanish, and French as well. And there will be workshops, there are lectures, workshops. Alberto Almeida will be speaking there, Miriam Duzzi, Lúcia Moisés. We have already actually published something on our group. We're going to publish it again, so you can take a look at the information. But everybody's more than welcome to come, and you get to go see Montreal too, which is awesome. We are also this year going to have the Canadian Spiritist Conference. We don't have the exact date yet. Last year it was here in Calgary, so Nina showed a picture at the Central Library. This year it's going to be in Vancouver, so maybe some of us can get together and go see Vancouver and be at the Spiritist Conference. Yeah! Oh my!
We're all gonna
How
go
big's your apartment?
Sleepover.
It's not big as your heart.
Oh, my house is tiny!
No, your heart. No.
Oh, my heart! Okay. Oh, that was sweet. Does anybody have any questions? And we'll have more to come as the Canadian Spirit. Because it's a weekend, right? You'll be here. So, and we have more to come as the Canadian Spiritist Council gets in contact with other speakers and stuff. So down the road, towards the end of the year, we might have more events for you as well. Any questions, comments, criticism? No?
Feedbacks.
Thank you very much. And it was way more than 4 minutes. Mediumistic department?
No. The first department took half an hour. Glad that now.
I'm becoming infamous for that.
Well, we need to schedule longer next time, I guess. Okay. So ours should be shorter talking. Just a few pictures we have. So this was here just when we were doing a radiation prayer during our pass in radiation course. When we're actually doing the activity, we don't record them, like when we're doing our weekly or bi-weekly, but that's from our training. And this was, what was it exactly?
That was the introduction of the course.
Yeah, and then here is just with a little
That's a great way of being in the
It's
picture,
not-
yeah.
If you think you're seeing something, yes you are.
It's not a ghost.
It's not a mediumistic phenomenon. You're actually seeing it. Yeah. All right. So our slide is a little bit. We don't have much to talk like Renata and Sonia, but we'll just go through the activities we have. So the pass in irradiation, we do have a course and a refresher every year, twice a year. For 2020 will be June and December. So June, we already have set the dates, June 18th and 25th. So there are 2 Thursdays. We're splitting the course in 2 days, 2 evenings, just to make it a bit easier. And then in December will be probably December 5th, and it's a Saturday. So we try to do once a week. We do during the week, weekdays, and once a year, twice. Sorry, let's go back. Every year we do twice the course, right? And in one time we do during the week, so then we split in 2 days, and the other time we do on a weekend. So just to kind of accommodate. All the workers are, I don't want to use the word required, but expected to take the course and the refresher at least once a year, but we're all welcome to do twice. The more the merrier, the more we learn, the more we share. It's usually great days that we are fortifying our group, we're making our group stronger, and the more knowledge we go, like, just makes us better. So we did 2019, and the plan is to continue 2020. Mediumistic study, we did start a new study group in 2019. And the plan is to continue studying throughout 2020. It's a long process of studying, so to prepare the new group if they decide to work, or everyone's choices, but again, consciential choices, but we'll continue throughout 2020.
Could you give everybody kind of an idea of the length of the course, because that's for people that don't really know the
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, so we started September 2019. The expectation is that all this study will go until end of 2020, so about a year and a half, maybe a little bit longer, depending on.
I think it's already.
It's already going to 2021. Just because. So, do you want to know what do you want to say?
No, and I also say that it's once a week.
Oh, yes, yeah. So our meetings are Thursday, so that's the same day as we do our mediumistic meetings. And this study group we have just earlier on the day, and then we just follow throughout with our meetings. So once a week, it's not a public meeting. Both the study and the meetings we have. So the mediumistic practice, that's what I was talking about. So that's, again, we started our practice in 2018. Our group that started this practice in 2018 have gone through studying about a year and a half to 2 years prior to it to get prepared for this. And yes, we plan to continue. Irradiation prayer, we do have the course, the preparation is with the past course, but we do have the practice here, and it's every second week or every other week on Tuesdays. We have a group of people there get together and participate in that prayer. Okay? Yes, and yes. And I don't know if everyone knows, but we do have a box that we keep at the, those tables, yeah, that box. And we have some paper there you can put names of people that we want to incarnate or discarnate. They want prayers, or they're going through some situations, and yeah. Okay. Fraternal meetings. So we had in 2019. We plan on having in 2020. vibration meetings in local. So we didn't have last year, and we are starting this year. And I don't know if everyone knows what that means. So that means when we do a prayer and we go to the person's house or maybe a hospital when the person is not capable of coming here. So that's a pilot starting this year. So, and again, this is all done by people from the Medium Music Department already doing the practice, right? So far. And in-depth study done by the coordinators just to help us to be more prepared. We did not have this in 2019 as we started the medium music study. There was a necessary plan to start last year, but then people were interested and we felt the need to offer another opportunity for more people to join the studies in the group. So we kind of had to make some choices here with our time. We only have so much time. But we plan on continuing doing in 2020. All right? And that's all. How many minutes? And again, if anyone has questions or even want more information about what kind of studies we do, what kind of material, or what any of these things mean, you're welcome to come and talk to me or Eric or even with someone from the department if they can help. All right? Is that all? Yeah, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes. Thank you for keeping the time.
You did way better than me.
Okay, so now the next is
Communication.
communication. Oh, sorry, spoiler. I thought it was like mine, just a blank page.
Okay, everybody. So now we got into the Department of Communication and Events. Here are some pictures. Oops. Of the fundraising events we had in 2019. So you can see a little bit. So we had 6 fundraising events happening on the even months of 2019. So we had Pastry Argentina afternoon in February. We had our famous feijoada in March, the Italian lunch. There we had pictures from the Festa Junina, from the folk festival, our barbecue in August, and our Christmas special event which happened in December. Good. Thanks for the feedback. So for 2020, we have another 6 events happening the same way in even months, either Saturday or Sunday. So this is the schedule for 2020. We're gonna have a soup buffet lunch. In February, we have our Brazilian lunch. We're going to have 2 feijoadas this year. So one in April, together with the annual general meeting, and the other one in October. So because it's a very good event, Eric makes a delicious feijoada. So you're more than welcome to join us. It's very special for us. And this year specifically, it's going to be also a very special year because we're celebrating the 5th anniversary of FSS. So more information to come, but it's not only a special event, but also the entire month will be full of celebrations. So, and also along with that, it's not set in stone yet, but we're probably going to have a folk festival maybe together with the FSS celebration or separate. We don't know yet, but we have to do some management in terms of getting St. Peter's Community Center, and there's more information to come about that. And the barbecue in August. So this is, again, thank you so much for all those ones who could come and join us in 2019. They're not only important for the fundraising part, but also because it's FSS all together celebrating as a big family. And this is what we want to see in 2020, everybody together again, and we want our family to be here even more, right, Eric? So it's an opportunity for sure. So now talking about the communication of FSS, Renata and I don't know if you guys noticed that, but we have every day of the month or the second day of the month, we always send a bulletin. So for those who need to manage their schedule way more in advance, talking about the Cherishing Life, for example, we're always going to have the information at the first day of the month, so you guys can save the dates. So we're not talking about the public meetings, of course, but only those special things. Not that the public meetings are not special. All of them are special, but
they're frequent. We have
yes,
fixed
those are
schedule.
yeah, exactly. That's what I meant. Thank you.
And most important, they're not open to public, so
Yeah.
there is no reason to publish in them.
Yes, exactly. So this is how it looks like. So always focus, if you need, again, to manage your time, check the bulletin. It's going to be sent on WhatsApp, on the Facebook page, on the Facebook group, the closed Facebook page, on Instagram now, and this is what I wanted to talk about. Our own communication channels. As you can see now, we have an Instagram page, which was launched back in November. So if you're not following yet, please join us to follow. You can absolutely check all the activities in there too. Here is our website, so our YouTube channel, WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook. Also, the calendar is printed, and we have in both areas, here in the meeting area and on the bulletin board on the other side. So you can check also the activities that we have for that specific month. Back in November, we also launched our flyers, specifying exactly what each department does. And also, because if you want to be a volunteer for that department, you have more information about what these departments do. If you need any information about that, contact me or Renata. We're more than welcome to answer questions.
Yes, it's just that nobody wants me to stand up and talk anymore, but
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah, and a little bit more about the retro for 2019. We're still in the process of changing our platform from the current site we have to WordPress, which is a different platform, and this is almost completed. We still have to do some tweaks, but and also we're gonna launch new features on the website. So our 6 fundraising events were successfully completed in 2019, and this is the plan for 2020. The essence of communication study is something that Renata and I couldn't complete in 2019, but that's the plan to accomplish this year. And this is something that we did do last year, but we're gonna try to manage in a different way, promoting every Wednesday something different from the department, and also linking with other departments. So for example, every Wednesday you should send a message on Instagram or Facebook or WhatsApp. For example, promoting Gospel at Home, that we do have the service if someone is interested of having, or Cherishing Life, or the conferences that are happening, everything that is going on, we're going to promote something different every Wednesday. So yeah, that's it. Do you guys have any questions or any feedbacks, complaints? Complaints. Well, Marcos always tried very good bacalhau in Christmas lunch, which is absolutely amazing. So we appreciate every time we do the codfish.
Oh, maybe we can do events just with this.
Codfish fundraising lunch.
That's a good idea.
I think it's absolutely amazing.
I was gonna suggest that, but like a hot fish.
Maionese da Carol, bacalhau do mar, pudim da Renata. Temos um grande evento.
É o evento dos teus patetas.
Gabriel já veio perguntar, mãe, a gente não vai comer o pudim? Calma. Ah, tem pudim.
Oh yeah, there's dessert coming, guys. So
Oh, nice.
stay tuned.
Thank you, Carol. Thanks,
You're
Carol.
welcome.
Great picture, by the way.
We'll talk a little bit about the Welcoming Systems department. So we did an activity again with the Calgary seniors. It was very good.
8 people.
8 people. Yeah. It was very nice. good feedbacks. And we started the gospel at home, and we are already working in 2 homes. And the call is on the back there. Please feel free to let us know if you guys are willing to implement. We'll gladly help.
So what is the distance of the home?
Doesn't matter.
No.
No.
I won't request one.
Okay, if you want to send us support to go to implement there, we can pay the tickets for us.
We can FaceTime.
Unless you are okay, we go swimming.
Or we can do in July if we go to the conference.
And one special reason I put in this picture was the great involvement we saw in 2019 of the activity of reception. We got so many great feedbacks, either receptions here at the house or in events like the Canadian Spiritist Conference. So very proud of the team for doing a great job. Talking about a little bit on the activities, we kind of split, but doesn't mean that one activity doesn't have assistance and the other one not welcoming, but what is more inside things and other that out of FSS. So on the activities, fraternal reception, it went very well, and we will keep on going in 2020. Fraternal siblings basically is an extension of the reception. Our plan is not just to receive people for the first time here, and then people who come 10 years later, oh, you don't need the reception. But we will make this extended, so we make sure that people are in touch with us and we are in touch with them as well. Fraternal carpool, as you know, kind of works more or less, but right now it's working through WhatsApp. You probably see the messages there we offering to people carpool, but the idea is to use an app. So we have to customize some apps that are available out there to do this. So people just go in and check who is coming or leaving FSS and could get a carpool. The other activity, Calgary Seniors. We did have a plan to implement a full year work with the Calgary Seniors. Didn't work well for many reasons. And we will try again to achieve this in 2020. But we did do, as I mentioned before, the work with the Christmas, and it was very good. Very great feedbacks, and it stimulated us to keep on going and try to do work throughout the year. Implementing gospel at home, as I mentioned before, we implemented in 2 houses, in 2 homes, and the goal is to go further. So again, this is also a call. Whenever you feel in need, let us know and we will help. And finally, the list of charitable organizations in Calgary. We receive so many new people here, and they always ask, oh, do you do this, do you do that? We can't do everything, first of all, and some things that some spiritist societies in Brazil do is not the same that we have need for FSS to work here in Calgary. So the exit we found to help people to keep volunteering in activities is to develop a list of charity organizations here in Calgary. Why charity? Because the government has classified them as charity, and that's a long process, as you probably, some of you know. When we applied for charity, it was a long process. The government do a lot of questions, research in our background. So we understand that these charity organizations, they are let's say, kind of proof that they are really charity and not just a non-profit, because there are a lot of non-profit out there that are not really reliable. And we are in process of implementing it, so it's really good job, and we hope in 2020 we are able to get you guys together to know a little bit more about this. Any questions about the welcoming assistance?
I have a comment regarding the college seniors.
Mm-hmm.
My father-in-law was one of the receivers, or one of the care packs from them. I believe through the Kirby Center, if I recall, because it's just another association, and it does make a lot of difference for them as well. So it's a beautiful activity, and they do make a whole lot of difference in their lives as well.
Yeah, that's great. It's just the Calgary seniors I have been feeling throughout 2019, and again I'm feeling this again. It's tough to keep in touch with them because they change all the time. People who are in charge of some volunteering activities, and when change the person, looks like the whole process changed with them as well. So it's a very good organization.
It's how we can contribute, because to be very honest, if I see some communication, I do not recall. How we can contribute to that.
Like help, would you have in terms of monetary help, you mean?
No.
How does you know what
this
is about? Because he doesn't remember seeing what this campaign was.
I can help about this activity.
Yeah. As I mentioned before, we were trying to implement better last year and we did it. So you will hear more from now. Okay.
Communication Wednesdays.
Yeah. All right. Sorry, I have one more thing about this. As you saw, I was alone in the. Guilherme had to step down as a coordinator of the welcoming assistance. So between the volunteers, we opened the opportunity for them to subscribe, and Danilo and Vitor subscribed. Vitor is well hidden behind the computer there. Hello, Vitor. He's still there. He's not. And we found a way to manage this, as Danilo also has some timing issues this year yet. I will keep being the coordinator with Vitor, but this will be approved by you guys in the annual general meeting. Just to remind you, because we can't just elect it, because he is interim for now, but and Danilo will be doing secretary, which means he will be prepared for next year, hopefully. I step. I don't know.
No pressure.
You can still.
No pressure's on me.
No pressure.
Me on myself.
So I'm very happy to say that we will be having this department fully working in 2020. I'm pretty sure that's gonna be another great year, either for the activities inside, such as reception, or the outside, such as Calgary seniors.
Thank you. So now, just talk a little bit about our secretary activities, the library, and the book sales. We are very fortunate and have the number of the books that we have in our library. We have so many important titles, so many diverse titles. We have opportunity to get those books here, take them home, read. It's just very good. Fortunately, as you can see, we have been increasing the number of books throughout the years, and also diversifying, not just books in Portuguese, but books in English, books in French, a little bit of books in Spanish as well, and then of course the kids education too as well. We're doing all the different scopes. Also, we have some DVDs with movies that can be rented as well, or can be talking to one of our volunteers. So Renata, Carol, Sonia, and myself, we can assist in that regard. There will be a list list of the books available in the room as well. That's something that we'll be working on. And of course, one of the most important prerequisites to borrow the books is to be a member. So we indicate that the ones that are not a member to sign up as a member, so we can enroll you and be able to borrow books at the library as well. And of course, importantly, we're always open to donations. If you have books at home that you want to donate, if you go to Brazil and find some books that could be interesting for the center as well, we're always very welcoming in that regard. Different languages, too, English, French, Portuguese, so that's always very important. We had, in the last year, we sold about 70 books, so that's very nice. And we all know the difference that a book can make in our lives, and how beautiful is the opportunity of giving a book to somebody, right? So we always say that is nice, and that's a good possibility due to our to a bookstore, our book sales, that we have a great number of titles available to be purchased or to be given. Also, we have been working with 2 gift cards that are going to implement with more intensity, one of $15 and another one of $25 that can be given as a gift, and the person can choose the book he wants in our library. And importantly, like, what is the money is used for? So all the money that we collect from the sales of the books is reinjected into the bookstore, into the library, so increasing the number of books in the library, in the bookstores, and the kids' education as well. So we are always using the money that is obtained through the sales to reinject in the library and the system as well. Of course, we work hand in hand with different departments, and now we're here to assist with finding titles and purchasing books and all that. And we're always very happy to collaborate with the book club. And as Renata said, we have, and Sonia too, we have some of the books available there. So anyone that's interested can talk to us afterwards, and we can borrow those books and talk about the possibilities. And always very welcoming and very happy to receive more people joining us in those activities. So thank you. Any comments, questions? Please.
Do you have any list of the books that you might need that we might?
Yes, we are working on
we might buy for you guys?
Like a wish list?
Yes.
We have a wish list, we just need to put it in a friendly format and we can share definitely.
Yes.
Yes. That would be
Books that
fantastic.
we want to have access to, that's what we have.
No, for example, let's say you go to Brazil. If we have a wish list, like you could buy 1 or 2 titles, bring back and donate, for example. Yeah.
But I think also if you have some, I wish we had that.
Yeah.
Let us know and we can see.
And we can actually add to the wish list.
Yeah,
Both
we
ways, yeah.
have the wish list on the bulletin board. If there's a book that you want, but we don't have currently here,
Yes.
we're gonna order the next time we.
Yes.
About numbers Thank you for that.
Well,
so welcome.
Warming reception.
Yeah, warming
So
reception.
this is then you show your bank account, right?
Yeah, I show my bank account and what I want to do with the money. Yeah. So this is the first, is just to give you an overview of how much does it cost to maintain our basic operations here in this place. So as you know, we renew our lease. In that lease, now we can blame the city of Calgary due to the tax increase and what have you. We increase about 5.5% in our rent. So instead of $918 or $17, now it's $971.
That's because I told him
Oh,
to be
sorry.
careful.
He's quiet, but he's paying attention.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Thanks, Victor.
And some other expenses that we have is our internet, our insurance, the contribution that we make to the Canadian Spirits Council, our utilities, and some of the bank fees. So that adds up to about $1,300 every month, which was about $1,200 along those lines last year. But now with the increase of the rent, we're facing a little bit of more costs to maintain. So what was our result back in 2018? So we had in revenues about 21,000 and we spent more than 21,000. So we were in a deficit of $910. So as I know if you remember back in 2018, we had a surplus of $2,000. So we're using some of that surplus that we had from last year, and we haven't touched yet our emergency fund. So this is to give like an overview of how volatile and how things work every month. The red line is all our expenses. The blocks, the bars, is how much we collect. And you can see that the blue, our major income or major revenue sources, is the contribution of our members. The second one, the orange ones, are all the fundraising events that we host throughout the year. Overall, we are 6 months a little bit over or at covering all the expenses, and the other 6 months we are under funded. You can see the spike here in September. So this is when we acquired a new computer, but all the computer was donated entirely. So we didn't spend any new money. Some members donated, and we were able to cover all the costs. But you can see, like June, how like our revenue was very low. Thank God we had in May a little bit of more revenue from our members. But you can see how important is the donation and the participation and the amount that everybody can contribute when we host our fundraisings. Any questions? Here. So as I mentioned, we had a deficit of $910 last year. And here is how much is left from that $2,000 from 2018. So above, a little bit above $1,100. We still have our emergency fund that covers about 3 months of basic operations. We have our $2,000, which is another reserve funds to bring workshops, aka Spiritizar, where we have to put the money up front, and then with all the money we collect, we put it back here to recover that fund. We still have our damage deposit for here. We have our petty caches both in the library and for the events. So we can do the change for you guys. So this is what we are kind of forecasting of what's gonna if everything keeps normal, on average we have $900 every month from members. And we know, we wish we were all consistent, thank you, that way, but it's not how it works, but this is just so we can do our forecast. So hopefully, we're gonna still have those on average, $900 from members. Those events, we know that they happen every other month, but if we put an average on all the 12 months of the year, we hopefully will get $200 for those events. And there's always some other contributions. We have the big box, we have recycling, and some other surplus from other events that we are forecasting that all their revenue will be about $70. So here we have 1,170. So we are short every month $130.
Just a reminder that you can also donate through the website. So if you don't want to bring cash to the pink box, you can also go to the website and there's a button to donate.
Yeah. So this is, if everything that happens in 19 happens in 2020, we'll need to find some other revenue sources to cover that gap that we have for now. Just to give you an idea, we had those $900 is about 9 contributions a month. I'm not saying there are 9 people. Some people, they donate as a couple. So this number you can interpret in 2 ways. It can be 18 contributions, 50 each, or 9 contributions, 100 each. That's average. That's how you see how some of the not issue, but it's constraint that we have to deal with. The contributions are not consistent. Sometimes we have more, and like, okay, that's good, and then other months we have very low contribution. So our ask is everything that you can, pink box, recycling, everything counts. Everything counts to help us cover that while we are forecasting at this point to have that gap, to cover that gap for this year.
One suggestion is for those who have a fixed donation, if you can help us with this increase that was in the cost, if you can increase by 5% your donation would be great.
It's like the math is kind of simple, right? We can either get more members donating, or we can have the members donating a little bit more, or a mix of both. But everyone has their own capabilities. But I would like to encourage like those events. If you have some people that you want to bring, right? When the event is open, have friends to join us and help with those donations. It's always.
Can I make a suggestion?
Helpful. Yeah.
We are a public. What's the name? Charity.
Yeah.
So on those fundraiser, because there is you need to pass a receipt to get the discount on the taxes.
Yeah.
Over $30.
Yeah.
So why not, if the people want to do that, give more on those events? Because to be very honest, the contributions of I have the same thing every single month because I don't want to forget.
Yeah.
So I have everything until 2025 or whatever it is. Yeah. But those ones, if you want to give more money on those events, that is where you earn more money, at least from what you see, to pass that receipt, it will help a lot.
Unfortunately, there is according to the legislation, Canadian legislation, we cannot issue receipts for events donation because we are exchanging something for another.
The donation can be done, but it doesn't need to. Can't be related to the event. It's just a spontaneous.
It needs to be spontaneous. So if that person goes to the event,
it can't be tied to the event because otherwise it will sound like we are
in exchange. Yeah. So it's a little bit. Yeah. If the person maybe at a later date just send interact or something, it's random or
but I've been to other events that is a fundraiser, and like you said, the suggestion fee is a suggestion fee.
Yeah.
If you said the suggestion fee it's $15, like usually it is, and I want to give $30, then I'm giving more on that event.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what I'm saying, because I know that there is a cap of $30 that you need minimum to just pass the receipt.
Yeah.
Because if I want to, because for me it's beneficial. In this case, for me, for everyone, is beneficial because then you get the receipt at the end of the year, and then it's tax saving.
Yeah. Okay, we need to investigate a little bit more how, so we are complying with Canadian laws.
Because I've been on those events, not for this but for other ones, and that is doable because it's a suggestion. You are not giving, you are just providing. We are not saying that if I'm providing food, that I want the receipt for the food that I provide. It's not that. You are just a gathering of fundraising, and if you guys get more funds, it's a way to incentivize all the people.
Yeah. So I think I'll need to investigate a little bit more how we can make that happen. Maybe contact some other people that do fundraising in events and see what's the trigger or what's the bureaucracy on that. Yeah.
The members' contributions cannot be going through this receipt.
So the members' contribution here is all issued. We will issue all the receipts this month or next month. So here is a voluntary one. It's not tied to any event. So you get by email your receipt and you can deduct. Receipts here for fundraising, that's the one a little bit more muddy that we need to verify. Yeah. But yeah, everyone that contributes monthly, it's spontaneous, not tied to any event, I will issue the receipt, and you can deduct those costs in your taxes.
I was just asking.
Also, maybe the way we could do that with an event, it's separate the money that is towards paying for whatever you consume, and just remind them you can make that donation.
So that's another thing that when I look into the law, that you need to do a math. Okay, how much is the food there on average, and then the rest
But
might
the food
be
is donated.
The food is donated. Yeah.
So there is no cost.
There is
Not
no.
always.
Yeah.
Not always. The bar
Sometimes we have.
example, is
Yeah. Sometimes we have to.
Why not?
Because not everybody was willing to donate $200 of picanha.
And also
Did
some,
you ask?
I was asking, yes.
You didn't ask me. I bought the rest of the picanha. I bought the rest of the picanha.
So now you're just giving maybe just give you an idea here is maybe we need to improve our communications in terms of everything.
Always communication.
Yeah.
Always
communication.
Always we ask if anybody is willing to donate anything. What we don't do is, for example, list stuff like who wants to donate this much of picanha, because that's going a little beyond. But what we do is ask in general who wants to donate something, and then if anybody has something specific or money, whichever, we always advise that then maybe you get in touch personally with me and Carol if we don't want to discuss like numbers on the group or on WhatsApp for everybody to see. Maybe just contact me and Carol on private messages and ask, like, is there anything specific you want me to donate, or is there any amount of money? But we always ask if anybody wants to donate before every event. It's just that at this point, sometimes people just stop reading messages because sometimes it is too much, and we understand.
Renata, let's keep on going. Everybody
And just
understood
a
that.
reminder as well that also to rent the community center, also there's a charge. Every time we have to pay for St. Andrews Community Center. They do provide us a special rate because we are a non-profit organization, but we also have expense if we want to book in advance picnic site on the parks. So this also is something that
Somebody has to pay for my salary in the city with the chart of the park.
Great job.
And your trips, right?
Yeah. But I think what's the message here? I think we need to do a better, maybe improve our work in requesting for those donations to cover some of the expenses of the events.
Eu queria só adicionar uma coisa.
If you don't speak.
Nós conhecemos umas pessoas que vieram na feijoada e depois vieram para o Christmas Party, e elas disseram que depois nunca mais viram nenhuma informação sobre os eventos. Talvez interessante também fosse divulgar esses eventos mais específicos que têm mais retorno de dinheiro, feijoada, o bacalhau, especificamente. Não, o Christmas Party. É aquela salada do bacalhau.
Já tá ficando, né?
Nesses grupos dos brasileiros, porque tem muitas pessoas que não sabem que acontece sempre.
Às vezes que a gente às vezes entra numa reflexão se certos eventos têm que ser abertos, porque alguns deles realmente a gente divulgou no Brasileiros em Calgary, por exemplo, fez no Mirá, fez em outras plataformas, mas às vezes a gente sentia a necessidade de fechar, dependendo, por exemplo, a festa de Natal. Às vezes isso é uma coisa que é realmente para as pessoas que vêm mais no centro, né? Então é uma coisa mais, né, de comemorar todo aquele ano, fazer as reflexões sobre todos os equipamentos aqui no centro. Então a gente ainda está nesse processo, sabe, Gabi, de abre tudo, não abre, deixa uns abertos.
Porque, por exemplo, uma dessas pessoas que participaram e que falaram do bacalhau foi a Bianca e o Léo, que agora participam do grupo, entendeu? Então acho que é uma possibilidade também das pessoas, de uma certa forma, conhecerem o grupo e se interessarem em começarem a vir nas reuniões.
Com certeza, a gente já chegou
uma sugestão.
Não, mas a gente...
Tá bom. A gente pode refletir os meios de comunicação melhor.
Só but just to finish, I have two, like the treasury department has two projects. We need to look at long term of our house here. I mean, like place. So we need to start searching for more local, provincial, and federal support or funding or grants to see if we can have our own place and stop renting. And this year, as you saw, because of a little bit of that gap, we will spend some effort to look for more fundraising opportunities and how can we maintain or keep our operational costs tight, or at least be break even. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sabe que você falou tem que ser muito linkado com o departamento do Welcome Assistance, porque a gente já teve um mau feedback quando a gente abriu um evento e algumas pessoas de fora acharam que era muito, que não se sentiram inteiradas, exato, todo mundo já se conhecia e a pessoa de fora ficou meio perdida, assim. Então tem que linkar muito esse departamento.
Eu passo a gente vai ajustando, com certeza. Mas é tudo muito obrigada pelo seu feedback.
Tudo bem. Thank you very much, everybody, for till now. April 26th, please book your agendas. We have our annual general meeting, and we will be talking about a lot of subjects here, and would love to have you hands together with us. With lots of love, charity, and fraternity. We would also like to inform that our election to the board will be open 30 days prior to the AGM. We have all these spots available. One in the doctrinal, two in the mediumship, two in the communication, two in the welcome assistance, and 4 admin. You gotta always remind, is missing secretary here, I don't know why, but secretary. Most of the departments already have names, so don't be afraid that, oh my God, we don't have, no, we have names actually for almost every position, but would love to hear if there are more volunteers to join us, because we understand that the more people join, the more we will help the FSS grow. Okay, so keep in mind, if you have the interest, come and talk with us about any of the departments or the admin positions. Would you guys have any questions concerning this?
It's just that it's now by law that those, even if we have names, we have to have an election anyways.
Yep.
So you can apply again, the way as earlier, or maybe one can apply.
Yeah, but don't be concerned that there will be no people filling up the positions, because so far so good, I think. I hope. Unless someone wants to leave and leave us manco. But we will figure it out. We'll figure it out. Okay? Any other questions, comments about this? It's a very important point, because it's the coordination of the activities, right? They don't work very well. For example, I was alone for almost full year in one department, didn't work too well. So it's very important to have, and just to clarify why we do have two, it's important. This is not one department of the person. The person should not be speaking alone about the department, but having a consensus on the ideas and the activities. It was came since the beginning of FSS and working well, almost 5 years. And about about the 5 years, it has been a pleasure to be with you for these last 5 years. I'm pretty sure that we did have hard times, we did have great times. In my opinion, the great times overpass easily the hard times. But we would like to be healthier for another 5, 10, 50 years. And the call that Luis made, although we made a little jokes, which is not exactly time to make a joke, is very concerning, the situation, because we don't have forecast right now the total amount of our costs per month. So if you have any ideas, any comments to how to fundraise more, please help us. Please help us, because we do need this. This is very important for the health of FSS. We have to understand that few spiritist societies that I know, almost one of them doesn't exist anymore, and some of them disappeared because of money. And it's unfortunate, because we are creating something to promote spiritual life, transcendence, but we still have to pay.
We're still incarnated. We still belong here for now.
The water we drink. By the way, we have fluidized water for everybody today. Please have a cup, and but even the water is not for free. We have to pay for everything, right? So we wanna live in this world, but live for the eternal life. But we do have our bills to pay.
We still live in a material world.
We still have the bills to pay, and also would comment a little bit on June. We will have a special month, as Carol mentioned. I don't know if you guys got really clear this, but it's a special month, guys. It's not just a month that we'll celebrate 5 years of the existence. Is very important for us. It's a milestone that we should really celebrate, get together, and get more as a family, really. If we are looking forward to fulfill what is fraternity, we better start feeling like brothers and sisters. And please try to lock some space on your agendas on June to be with us and celebrate. We're not doing celebrations as the normal world do. We'll do celebrations being together in the meetings, in the events. This is how we celebrate, making sure that we are together as a family. Okay?
I have a suggestion. I can donate bacalhau feast on June.
There you go. Already found one to fundraise. Thanks, Marcos. Very much appreciated. Very much appreciated. All right, guys. Before we finish here,
We have a special video, right?
I don't know. Did you guys bring the video?
You have it. It's on WhatsApp. You received it.
No, I don't have in this computer. I will have to do all the connections.
Oh, I thought you had edited.
No, you didn't. You did. Okay, we'll talk about this later. You didn't ask for me. Okay. Yeah.
I have a suggestion for all those events, especially like the facial. I remember it was a lot of work for you, so I just suggest you invite more people to help you.
Yeah, for sure. It's always
more
welcome.
people will be-
Always welcome.
He doesn't want to share the recipe.
It's a secret.
Doesn't matter, Cintia, all the dirt's gonna be in it.
We got volunteers to go meet
You can do other ones.
lá em casa durante 3 dias.
faz outra casa.
Yeah, I don't need to make. Everybody knows how to make feijoada, I'm pretty sure. So to finish our meeting today, I would like to bring this wonderful invitation of Erasto in the Gospel according to Spiritism. Build up your phalanx of decision and courage. Get to work. The plow is ready. The earth waits. Plow, not arrive. I fixed it. I don't know how to do it. Go and thank God for the glorious task that He entrusted you. But attention, among those called to Spiritism, many have gone astray. So make clear your way and follow the truth. Thank you very much. Let's do our final prayer. If you can turn off the light, would be great. Thank you. Dear God, thank you for this lunch today, celebrating between brothers and sisters, finding solutions for the future of FSS together, and mainly exercising this wonderful virtue that entitles our name. Dear Father, please enlighten each one of the members of this house, each one of the participants, each one of the workers, coordinators. Please give us strength for another full year, fostering love, fostering fraternity, fostering charity in this lovely town. And we also would like to call you to remind about our brothers and sisters in need. Help us to help them. Let us have strength. Let us have peace of mind so they can receive from us your love and your peace. Be with us in another year, and thank you for entrusting us the 2019 year. What a beautiful and important year in all our lives. So be it. Thank you very much. I will try to pass the video here. I need my cell phone. I think I'll